And we're back. So now let's see where we are. Let's kind of recenter ourselves. We have a page with a couple things. Now we want to, whenever we click one of these, we want to go to that category's corresponding page, right? So that is a whole nother component. And let's call it photo list. All right. We want to try to keep our names generic. Don't want to tie ourselves too down to be like panda list and miniature list. We want to be like, it's because at the end of the day, it's just a list of photos. So let's make our photo list. Probably. Yes. Those are my components. Make a new file, photo list.js, rcc. So we have our photo list component. So before we even do anything crazy, this is going to be this page right here. All right. So if we look at it, just kind of like high level, we're going to have, ignoring the breadcrumbs because that was adventure mode, we're going to have a header, we're going to have a paragraph, and 2 images. Okay?
So can I ask what is the breadcrumb?
Breadcrumb was this thing right here. So like if I click down here into like an image, it shows like how I got here. I was at the home page, and then I was on Panda Bears, and I was the panda waving.
That was from the list or something.
It's as a list. So Panda Bears, we have a header. Header, Panda Bears. We have a p tag that has the description. And then we have a couple of images. Gotta steal this picture real fast. All right. So now that I have a basic page here of what's going on, I need to actually be able to get to it now, right? So I can actually display it. So this is where React Router comes into play. So over here, I want to swap out category list for photo list now, right? So I'm going to import my routers here. Import browser router as router. I need the switch, and I'm going to need the route as well. Now let's wrap the whole thing.
Do we have to download the React Router DOM every file time?
Every new project.
Okay.
Yep. Every new project.
Yeah.
And the reason is that we want all the dependencies for our project at runtime to be associated with that project. So whenever it goes to be run off my machine, which I guarantee you it will, whenever you deploy it to Surge or like even have someone else work on it, they need to know what dependencies are there.
Oh, it's unique to each one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because with another project, like we may not need React Router. Or we might use something different.
Within the same project.
Different projects.
Okay.
So, category router, now we need a switch. Inside of that switch, we want to define a new route. So whenever making changes like this, my first goal is to always make sure that what I have isn't broken. Right? So it's like, hey, I built a website that had a couple of headers, had a couple of pictures, had my list of categories on it. I want to get that I want to get that back because right now it does it, but it doesn't really. So we're going to set up the home page, path, exact, and then component, lowercase c, equals category list.
That should be the same exact thing.
It should be the exact same thing that was there. And it is. So, awesome. Now I want to create my second page. So my second page, I want to look at the URL and see what does my URL look like. It is /pandas right now. So, well, okay. So my first kind of inclination would be to create, hey, I'm going to create something called /pandas, right? And just call it a day. And sounds like a good like death metal band. Hey, we're /pandas. Photo list.
What just happened?
So we have our photo list now. So that's all fine and dandy, right? But we have more than one categories inside of our page, right? We have pandas, we have miniature painting. We also could, expand that later on in the future. So this first parameter, this first value is becoming a parameter. So instead of pandas, let's call it category. Category. Let's make it a parameter. So now we're saying, hey, whatever we go to that URL, whatever is the first word, that's going to be the category that we want to display. All right? No? Okay.
What was the shortcut you did to duplicate the line? I know it wasn't copy and paste because you didn't even have to.
Whenever nothing's highlighted, copies the entire line. So I just copy that entire line and then paste.
Control C.
Control C.
Oh, just at the end.
Yeah.
Or just because it's on that line, you
Yep.
can control C.
At the end of the
Wow.
star, doesn't that?
Anywhere on that line. If nothing's highlighted, it copies your current line.
That's a VS Code specific thing.
That is, it's a editor specific thing, but between the half a dozen editors that the staff uses here, we have not found a single one that doesn't do it.
Okay, so
That doesn't count.
you just create a category
Mm-hmm.
that points to photo lists.
Yep.
But the next step, the way you're gonna use that category is through the params.
So category, the word category is never actually going to show up inside of our URL. It is now a parameter to a new page. So if I head on over here, I'm on my home page, right? I get my home page. But now as soon as I start typing anything on the other side of this, after a slash, React Router is going to go, hey, my URL, my path now matches this path. So I'm going to display that component.
Okay.
So you just named category just a name, but it's gonna go to photos.
Yep. This just says if we just have slash and then anything, go to photo list.
And that's what the semicolon means?
Yep, that semicolon means anything.
Anything.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if I go here to hello, it's going to bring up my poorly styled Panda page. If I go to, of course, pandas work. That's awesome. But if I type anything here, it'll still go to the pandas page because it's matching that URL structure. It's matching that slash any word.
Why?
Params.
Why is it matching?
Why does it need to be anything?
It's gonna be something specific, yes.
So why does it need to be anything?
No, but I mean, why, I guess I'm not,
So it
That's my
can be
question.
anything,
it can be anything.
but it's going to be the current category that we want to display
Okay.
when it's all said and done. We've only hooked up half of this. We still haven't
Oh,
hooked up the
okay,
other half.
so there's another half coming up.
We just said we have a page now that accepts anything. We still have to hook up the category page to actually accept the categories that
That
we
is
have.
close to-
That's going to display the current
And
category.
that's the anything.
Yeah, that's the anything. All right, so we've seen the first half. Let's see the second half of this. So now that we have this page set up, we want it to accept and display the current category that we pass it. So over here in our photo list, just to see what's going on, instead of hard coding in the word panda bears, if we do this props match params category. No, that's it. I know, but it says dot. If we say, hey, here's whatever we're passing in now. So now this category right here is going to be whatever is inside of that URL. So there's that big long thing there. This could be anything. Hello. But we want it to be pandas, right?
Because that's the name of the object,
Key. Yep.
the key
The key in the object.
in the object.
So if we recall, let's kind of rescope ourselves. You get to this page by clicking on one of these two headers. So let's go turn these headers into links to our new page that can accept anything. So in category list, we want to import link from React Router DOM. And inside of our header, link to. Now our to here we want it to be slash hobby key, right? Because that hobby key is pandas or miniatures. So that key is going to provide us the URL for the category page that's going to actually display all the pictures. So far, so good?
I think it's good to note also that link and router, or link and route, they are connected because we're making them connected, but they don't have to be connected, right? Link is, you can link to a page without routing it to a component.
Correct.
So, but the whole point of that is to not think about it as like all this like spaghetti. It's just like they're two separate independent things
Mm-hmm.
that simply talk to one of them.
You can think of it that way, yeah.
Just to make it simpler rather than that.
So here's our headers are now links, which are just A tags. And these things don't actually know what they're linking to. They're actually quite dumb. The only thing that they've produced, those link tags, they've produced for us A tags, which is just HTML, right? We know A tags. There's nothing scary about those. And the link is /pandas. So it's slash that hobby key, which is going to match the route that we made. So it's saying, hey, hey router, hey switch, I want you to match this route. And then the router and the switch are like, okay, I can do that. And that's when it brings up the photo list component. So now I'm going to click this, I should get pandas. If I click this, I'll get miniatures.
Says
The word.
The word miniatures. Yeah, the word miniatures. We haven't hooked up the data yet.
Look the same.
It looked the same except for the word. That one tiny little word.
Can I see the code?
Instead of hooking up the Hobby Key, because we need a title there.
So yeah, we're going to expand on PhotoList in a second.
So the hobby key is Panda, I guess you're saying.
Yep.
Or miniature, yeah.
Yep.
It's that first object in the JSON.
Yep. Hobby key is panda or miniatures. And if we had a third one here, it would be that one as well.
Just can you trace back the hobby key where it came from, just so I can
Yeah.
mentally can make that note again.
So hobby key is part of the map that we're doing. And that map that we're doing, as we're saying, is all the keys that are in the object hobbies.
Okay.
And hobbies is the JSON data.
That's the JSON. Okay.
So in the
So that's what's coming from here.
So the JSON structure, you start with keys, a key value pair.
Yep.
And so that's at the root.
Mhm.
Okay.
So let's make PhotoList dynamic now. Is it right? It's still pretty static, right? So let's kind of do that part. So inside of PhotoList, I'm going to need to import the data. So now I'm going to say, for my header, I want to display the title of the current category that I'm on, right? So it'd be hobbies, and this dot props dot match dot params dot category. Dot title.
You have to start using match and params because this is a.
React router thing.
Say it again?
React router thing. Because
What was the question?
the question is, we have to start using match and params and this whole shenanigans here, because that's how React router communicates what parameters were being passed in.
So now it's
So
specified.
can you translate that into sort of English? So hobbies is the JSON file.
Yep.
Params relates to the
It's
the
what's,
photo list,
it's what's being passed in.
the photo list, in this particular case.
The key.
It's either pandas or miniatures.
That hobby key. That was
Yeah, it's
passed.
basically
Yep.
hobby key from the
This-
last one.
If you follow the whole way back, this is hobby key. So we're saying, hey, hobby key is now my category.
And the reason I'm confused because in the apps.js,
Mhm.
you had that, exactly. So is that not related anymore?
Yep. Hobby key is becoming this category,
Oh, geez, that category. And the connection
Which-
is made where?
which is also this category.
But it's passed through with the link.
Mm-hmm.
So that way
It's
it's dynamic.
passed.
So
So
we
it
go back
changes
to the
based
category list.
Yep.
There's a
Show the connection in category list.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to make that connection.
the link right there to the hobby key. So that hobby key is where the
Okay.
category went. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's fill in the rest of the data while we kind of digest that. So it would be for the description, it's going to be description. And then down here for the section inside of here, we're going to want to map over the photos, right? And display each photo. So, wrong button. Dot photos. Dot map. We want to return an image tag with a source equals of photo dot, what was it? Picture URL? Image URL. Oh. Title equals photo dot title. Yeah. And get rid of these. So I'm just saying, take whatever category is being passed in and show me the data. Show me whatever's inside of that JSON object for that category.
Are we not worried about making that a link right now?
Not right now. Give me 10 minutes. So hey, there we are. We went to the miniatures page. And it's showing me the miniatures category. So back to the home page. Head over to Panda Bears. It's now saying, hey, look at the URL, because this page was passed a category from that link. We're saying, hey, look at the category pandas. If pandas exist inside of my JSON object, then display the data.
So now if you go to any other backslash something else, like, it won't work.
Correct.
So it can't be anything. It can only be.
Yeah, so now that we've actually hooked up the object,
Okay, so now it's
we
no longer-
restrict it. It's no longer anything. It's now that.
That's what happened.
Okay.
I just set the link to something just to have it out of the way.
Yep.
And I started working on it for like 4 hours with it as hello instead of panda,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kept throwing me those errors.
Yeah, right. Yep.
I
So
couldn't figure out why. So
if you want to make this a bit friendlier, we can do an if statement here. If hobbies this dot props dot match dot params dot category. If it's a falsy value, so if it doesn't exist, then return H3. Nothing was found.
So on that note, you could have a no match. In the documentation, there was something where you had a route to, if you don't find it,
So that's a different thing.
that's a different thing.
So if we had, so what V is referring to is yesterday we had a route that had a no match. That's kind of like our catch-all. Like if it didn't match anything else, then put them at the 404 page. That wouldn't work here. Any thoughts to why?
because it's not routing from the front page.
Nope. Because this still matches that page. Even though inside of our data, it's like, oh, our data, it doesn't match with our data, it's still matching the route. So it's still going and loading that component.
With inside.
Yeah, but inside would break.
How often do you manipulate URLs on websites you visit?
A lot. Probably more than I should.
Can I do one more thing?
Yeah.
On the, right there, we said this dot props dot map, like 10 times.
Yep.
So we could make a variable called category and just use that instead.
Yep. Const category. Category data
So they don't write that out.
equals shrink. Category data Well, whoops. Actually, that's
One too many.
one too many, but that's
Change the letter on the first one and then do that and then
actually what I can do is take that.
that's how we make this.
So instead of repeating hobbies, this star hops match params everywhere, we're saying, hey, take that, define that as category data, and just use that instead. Makes our code a little bit cleaner.
What's in it? Can you just show abstract JS a second? Okay.
All right, so here we are. We have a broken. So now we have our panda bears. We can go down. We can see this. We could style it. Miniatures. We can go down and style it as well. Head over to the photo gallery. If we click panda bears, we now notice that we can still click the image to take us down to that image's page, right? So a couple things happen here. The images are links, so we're gonna have to do that. And also, let's check out that URL. Our URL has a bit more going on now, right? We have /pandas, so we have /categories, that's still the same. We know that. But then there's also some sort of ID going on, or an index or something. We're missing the actual picture that we're on. So if I go there, if I come over here, pandas 1. If I come to this one, it's pandas 0. So now we're saying, hey, we're going down, we're drilling down, we're saying, hey, here is we want to see the 0th image, or the first image, or we want to see the second image, which we pass it a 1. I know, arrays are fun. So that's going to be a new component, right? And that's going to be a new route. So what is our new component named? Photo detail. So I'm going to create the component, photo detail.js, RCC. Woo! That really still makes me happy, and I do not know why. Like, happier than it should make me. So I'm going to create a new one. What did I call it? Photo detail?
Yes.
Photo detail. You see that it imported it for me? So now we need to update the route. So if we recall, the route was category/index, right? So let's add another slash and add another parameter and call it index. So now this is going to match for this URL.
So you created a parameter/parameter?
Yep. How are we feeling with this? Photo
Can you go
deep.
to photo list?
What?
Can you go to photo list?
Yeah, sure. So while we're here, let's create a link to our new page. So it was for the image, right? So let's wrap this thing in a link. And it's going to go to, where's it going to go to? It's going to go to slash, it would be this dot props dot,
Category.
yep. slash I.
Wouldn't it be? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just using the I from the map.
Yep, I'm just using the I from the map, that's all. What is the second parameter in the map function?
Index.
It's the index of the item that we're on. What?
The iteration.
So the first time through is going to be 0, the second time through is going to be 1, and so forth and so forth. So it's where we are inside of the array.
And the way you did that just for our benefit, just in terms of, because you have a const upstairs.
This const is different. This is the actual category data.
It doesn't have.
It doesn't have
It
a
doesn't
category.
have hobbies on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that threw me off.
Mm-hmm. I could.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Category data does not have the actual key attached to it. It's just the information. It doesn't have the current category that we're on. So what we could do, we can say category up here equals that.
Just instead of this dot, just put category.
So our code's a little bit easier to read. So now what do we expect will happen whenever I run this?
Should link it to the
Return it to figure
photo detail page.
Okay, so it should link us down here.
not to the
So head over here. Failed to compile, link is not defined.
Didn't import them.
Import link from React Router DOM.
This is one, right?
So each one of the images is a link.
Yeah.
So probably can't see that from back there, but however, the first one's linked to 0, goes down to details page, link to 1, takes us to the same page except we have a 1 now for our parameter.
And now we can use that 0 and that 1 to dynamically create what shows up.
Correct. Let's do that. Down here, we need to import hobbies. Then same way we did over here, let's pull this out. So we have const category equals this dot props dot match dot params dot category. Const index equals this dot props dot match dot params dot index.
Would it be categories of index?
Nope. Each parameter is unique. It doesn't build up like that.
Okay.
And then const photo data equals hobbies category dot photos and then index. So we're just pulling the information from the URL, saying, hey, we're on this category and we're at this index for pictures. And then I want to look into my hobbies, pull out the category that I'm on, find the photos of that category, and then pull out the index that I'm on.
One thing to note is that when you want to target a key in an object, you can use dot notation or brackets.
Yep.
But with an array, you just use brackets, so sometimes it might be confusing mixing up like well, hobbies is an object, whereas photos is an array, even though you're still using brackets for each.
Good call out. Which could be a good conversation about what exactly is the difference between an array and object in JavaScript, which is a conversation not for today. Just know that you can use to access keys on objects using the bracket syntax, the same way we'd use arrays as well. So, we have our photo data. I want to display it. What goes on this page? Just the title, panda waving, the photo, and the source. So we have our header. We have our header, which is photo data.title. Gonna have our image. Source equals photo data dot image URL. We have alt equals photo data dot title. Then we also have a source down here, href photo data dot source URL, I believe it is. Because you should always attribute your pictures. So yeah, there we go. So now if I head back to the other panda picture, panda waving, yay. Head back here to the miniatures. I could drill down and see that we are on we have the exact same flow. So where are we? How are we feeling? Better than 2 hours ago?
Better, must have been So you created those const, right?
Mhm.
But I only see that you use photo data only.
Yep. I also use category here and index right there as well.
Oh, you're building it up. Okay. Okay.
What are we thinking?
I don't remember everything. That's my problem.
So it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to kind of make sure that everything's fine. We follow kind of the same approach we did, kind of like piece by piece. So like, okay, now I'm on a new page. Now I want to link that new page. What HTML do I need on that new page? We've kind of taken it in little baby steps and instead of trying to do it all at once. This was relatively.
That wasn't our approach yesterday.
What?
Yeah, our approach yesterday was trying to make it.
It was trying to do everything. So Lexi has drawn something on the board for us.
Is it right?
I don't know. Walk us through it.
So basically, it's like where you start, like from the outer shell. Like the app.js is very basic, encompassing everything. It has a category list inside of it.
Yep.
And inside the category list, you have your photo list. And inside the photo list, you have the photo details, right?
So not inside.
Well, like from one to the next, like a path.
They do form a path because that's the URL structure that we built out.
And the JSON goes to photo lists and photo details, right?
And the category.
It was.
And categories?
Yep, we imported it in all three. So we are using that hobbies.json to fuel those 3 pages. So those 3 pages are a data-driven site. So that means that it's absolutely dynamic. So we can change that hobbies.json, and and the site will still actually work.
And then also to the right, the routing stuff, so try it.
The routing stuff.
Yeah. So next to categories list, draw. I'll just show the screen and you can write it down. So write the path next to each component.
Okay.
You don't write the entire path, just the URL.
Just forward slash.
Yes.
So now you modify the JSON. Let's say you copy paste another panda bear and just add another URL image,
So let's
whatever description, whatever, and it will just dynamically add it to it.
Yep. So let's actually do that. So let's do miniatures, and let's change this from miniatures to tabletop games. I actually really enjoy those games.
They are so good.
I have a version of Risk that's like futuristic Risk, where you can like play in the oceans and also on the moon. And it's crazy. Like you get like attack cards, and you can like blow up the moon and stuff. It's actually kind of fun.
Can you go back to the app, James?
Yeah, sure.
Category. You can have different colors, but I'm already listed.
Now, and there, so everything up below or outside of category list is a parameter.
Yes.
Could you make it a relative path? Would that make sense? Can you do it? Is it, you know?
So when you say relative path, can you kind of
So /, that's the root of any points to category list.
Yep.
Which is a component. Can I say / category and point it to photo list? Instead of a parameter?
So could you say like just /category without colon there?
Right.
That will give you a static page at category, but it wouldn't work because then it wouldn't display the current category.
So so everything outside of the root has to be a parameter.
It doesn't have to be. I could put
We did the search.
And it's,
so I can do something like this. So now instead of my route just being /whatever, it's /show/whatever.
and what is show?
That's just something to create a meaningful URL.
It'll say show pandas.
Yeah, so say show pandas or show miniatures or something like that.
So on the URL, what do you see on the URL?
/show/pandas/slows.
But show is, again, path. It's
It's a
just,
fixed thing.
it's just
Yeah.
a name.
Yep.
Just semantics of that.
Yep, I could have named this anything I want.
You just play with the URL you see to make it look
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's it.
If you ever look at it.
I do.
Yeah.
People do.
Developers do.
You ever
And-
seen sites that put like a hash there or something so you can directly know?
Yeah. That's a different conversation. But yeah, that's the thing.
What did Dana say?
A hash. So some on URL you see like a hashtag. Yeah, that's a different thing. So, oh yeah, so we added another category. Get rid of this. So we've added our JSON file. We've updated our data source. We have another category called tabletop games. If I click that, it has my description. The images are still the same because I just copied those over. And you notice that the URL is now that key that was the JSON object. So it's now tabletop games.
You should have left show there and everything.
Mhm.
You should have left anything I want.
Oh, for this. Oh, in the URL.
Yeah, just put it.
Yeah. So now that we updated our URL structure, we need to go and update our links as well. So photo list to anything I want. So I would click here. So now we have localhost 3000 / anything I want / pandas. So now just the last thing is the parameter.
I'm assuming some people leave little Easter eggs in there to mess with you.
It's really good for linking, for direct linking to things like sharing out search results, sharing out pages, SEO, Easter eggs. I like it for APIs. It creates a predictable API structure. I like it because, that's friendly, so it's easy to tell what exactly is on this page. So if you send me this link, I'm gonna go, it's something with tabletop games, instead of just like a random string of hashes and numbers and stuff like that.
They do that a lot. Christians.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly how they do
Mm-hmm.
In the Minesweeper API, the games
Yeah.
would have been static.
Yep.
Like it would have looked like games, and then ID would have been dynamic, like that is the categories, and check or flag would have been dynamic.
Yes. Correct.
But games was always the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually words are static, and numbers or IDs are dynamic. Not all the time, because we have categories here, obviously, but usually. What?
You said you had a question. It was at 11:40.
Ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 more minutes.
So-
Siri, where are you?
3 minutes.
Yeah.
You jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Is it still?
False start.
It's long tradition.
So serious question. Serious question. Is Siri still Siri whenever it's a guy's voice?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is a serious.
I changed it.
Okay.
You had a guy's voice?
Yeah.
It sounded like a girl.
Listen,
You got
it
it,
was
dude.
the voice, the girl voice is way too sexy for me.
I had an Australian voice, but she always.
Yeah, but I've made an English voice.
But Siri is so
I can't understand what it says.
Siri is so
but-
far
okay.
behind, I guess, like Google.
Again, that's a good conversation for over a pint sometime. So React Router, how are we feeling? I am not forgetting. I want that to be the very last thing that we talk about.
For me, I'm gonna have to print it out so I can
Yeah.
draw the lines to, so I understand.
I
what
think that's the thing that I gotta do too. Although I try to print some stuff all last night and my printer is not blocking.
Yeah,
It's always out of blacking, right?
I never use it. I haven't used it in 6 months.
I get the gist. It's just that especially when it's starting to get down to the weeds,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure what that refers to in the back. How it's that last mile of the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where it's coming, what it means. So that's why I need to draw it out.
I think that's what I'm getting lost.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Not router related.
Depends.
It's the project related,
Yeah.
but not router.
Yeah, it's project related.
I saw that Jason did, CSS did, both block sections are the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely rendered there. So I wonder how he did that and how it would look after you had the third one.
So
How dynamic the
the CSS will be.
Yeah. So let's head over to back to our homepage because that's where the third one is, right? It's on the
Yeah.
homepage. So now,
You see here the Panda Bears image tends to be wider and then it just pushes
Mhm.
the other one. But if you see it is, the wide is the same, but on the other, the miniature is higher, so yeah. But it looks better, in my opinion.
it does. So I would have to. So there's a couple different ways to do this. We can either try to find it ourselves, but here we have an actual working example. So let's kind of see how he did it.
I was messing with CSS yesterday like that. And
So,
I still couldn't get it.
div class card, max width 100%, column. Looks like he has a whole bunch of flexing stuff on it.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Let's grow, let's shrink.
Flex basis. So if we don't know what it is, flex grow CSS tricks. No, I want this site. Yeah. This site's like my Bible when it comes to Flexbox.
Is it tricks.com?
CSStricks.com, a complete guide to Flexbox. So we're doing what? Grow,
Basis, grow, and
basis, grow, and shrink. Yep. So basis is 0. Let's see. Is it 0? It's 0 for everything. That's a column. Yep. So flex basis defines the default size of an element before the remaining space is distributed. So it just says, hey, we want to say that our size is 0. So the extra space around the content isn't factored in. So this is him playing with margins and paddings. Flex grow and flex shrink. Flex grow says, hey, I want you to be one thing wide, whatever that thing is. So if I have 3 things in here, and I use flex grow set to 1, each one's going to be even space. Try to at least. It's going to do its best. Not always guaranteed, but it's going to do its best. I could do flex grow to make something twice as wide. So flex grow for this middle element is 2. So it's just saying this thing is going to be twice the size of everything else. So it's a relative way to size items.
does it help make it more responsive?
Because now this is always going to do its best to be twice the size of everything else.
So, yeah, as long as you're not writing in pixels and stuff, it's going
Yeah.
to be a lot really responsive.
Mm-hmm.
When you start adding like margin, 60 pixels, stuff like that, it just
Mm-hmm.
So why add shrink and grow?
Because shrink says, can we? Are we allowed to shrink it?
I get a number.
Oh, and that's why when you made it smaller, it would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's saying, hey, I can shrink, but I'm still staying the exact same size.
So he doesn't do wrap.
No, he doesn't. He's not doing
The other
that.
thing I don't like Smallwell, because instead of bringing the letters smaller, the letters stay big and it just looks awkward. Just change it to mobile.
Yeah, I guess I could do that, huh?
You saw what happened?
So the pictures stay within the context of the.
That looks nice, but the letters are too big.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of Flex?
Or I would add a media query to make it go column now.
Exactly.
It will look much better.
Or just wrap.
Or just flex wrap, maybe.
Either way.
Either way. Perfect.
Ninja.
So ninja. I'm gonna stop recording.